Furious world leaders are calling out Donald Trump and his despicable regime. At the same time, Donald Trump and his regime are essentially threatening nuclear war or a nuclear buildup. Again, I'll get to that in just a moment, but why don't we start this video off in Greenland, where Canada has opened up a new consulate, despite the Trump regime warning Canada, do not do that. Do not show support to Greenland. We want to take it over. You can't be there, Canada. And Prime Minister Carney said, you can't boss us around. We're sovereign. We're strong. We're North. We're Canada. Get the hell out of here. So the end of this week, Canada did indeed open up that consulate in Nuuk, the capital of Greenland. We have images of them opening up this consulate. It was incredible. The people of Greenland and Denmark are so proud to have a strong friend in Canada. You can see right here the plane landing carrying Anita Anand, Canadian's foreign minister. Look at these beautiful photos of the opening ceremonies for the consulate. Contrast that to the opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics in Milan, where J.D. Vance and his wife Usha were getting mercilessly booed. Let me just show you this portion right here of this video where you have Canadian's foreign minister announcing the opening of this incredible consulate in Greenland, again, standing up against Donald Trump and his despicable regime. Play this clip.
Hi, everyone. So wonderful to see you all here for the formal opening of the Canadian consulate in Nuuk, Greenland. Let's just raise our hands and clap for this day. I would like...
We're now also seeing Maria Corina Machado, the main opposition leader from Venezuela, giving interviews and starting to call out more forcefully, which she did before, though. Delcy Rodriguez, now the leader of Venezuela. Delcy Rodriguez was the vice president to Maduro. Her and Diosdado Cabello were part of the Maduro regime. I mean, the Maduro regime is still essentially they are running Venezuela. There's still massive political persecutions there. And Donald Trump wants the authoritarian leader, Maduro's sidekick, Delcy Rodriguez, because she's agreed to open up a bank account in Qatar so Trump can sell the oil from Venezuela to his right-wing oligarchs, take the proceeds, pocket it himself, put the money that Trump pockets into a bank account in Qatar. And that's what Donald Trump is doing right now. He's basically screwing over the American people, screwing over the Venezuelans, screwing over people who had a pro-democracy, the pro-democracy Venezuelan community in South Florida. And then the White House is also trashing the main opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. So she gave an interview to Politico where she said the following. Here, play this clip.
Do you think Delcy Rodriguez is doing this on her, own willingness? Do you think that someone that has put children behind Yale and teenage girls being forced to sexual activities just to have the possibility to see their mothers while they were in jail, and she was the one overlooking this process? Do you think she's doing this on her own will? Of course not.
And then as soon as she gave that interview, the Trump regime rushed to Politico and they gave this story. White House frustration with Venezuela's Machado grow after her comments. None of this is Operation Maria Corina Machado, okay, is what a top Trump advisor told Politico. This is about Operation U.S. National Security. Basically, she needs to just shut up. Shut up, the Nobel Peace Prize winner. You gave Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. Be quiet is the message that the Trump regime is sending. The scoop from Politico is that White House advisors and top Trump officials are saying that they're very frustrated with Machado. They view remarks about her wanting to hold democratic elections as undermining their work in Venezuela. And again, they put out this message. This isn't Operation Machado. It's Operation U.S. National Security. She's a spoiler, and she's working against U.S. national security interests and goals, a White House advisor told Politico. Well, all of that's going on. is deeply, deeply serious, and it's not getting nearly enough attention. As I've always said before, and you've heard Senator Bernie Sanders when he and I have spoken here, the most important issues are often discussed the least. Like, did you know right now that basically you have the United States and China and Russia all basically threatening nuclear war with each other and saying, okay, all of these strategic nuclear disarmament agreements are done. We're now going to build back up our nuclear arsenals. The U.S. this past week accused China of doing nuclear testing back in June 2020. Who was in office in June 2020? Like, do y'all remember when the Trump regime was attacking former President Biden for allowing, or they said that he was allowing, and it wasn't even true, so that Chinese spy balloons over the United States. Do you remember that? And like Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she was at the time when she was a Trump ally, now she hates Trump, she dressed up like one of the weather balloons that was flying over the United States. Do you remember that? Well, during the Trump regime, apparently they covered up. If you believe their own story, they learned that China engaged in a nuclear bomb testing in June 2020, and then the Trump regime covered it up then, because now they're saying, oh, we actually knew about that. So you have all these nuclear arms control treaties that are generally referred to as START, Strategic Arms Reduction Treaties, and they started back in 1991 or so. But you have Trump's arm control chief, who holds the position of the U.S. Undersecretary of State. It's a guy by the name of Thomas DiNanno. So he accused China of engaging in secret nuclear tests. And this is as the new START, S-T-A-R-T, these strategic armament reduction plans, has expired. So what the U.S. is saying, oh, you did nuclear tests, China, so we, the United States, are going to start doing nuclear testing now. Now, China denies it, and China is saying, we didn't do this. This is just a way that the United States is trying to break down the multilateral system, as they've done before. And this is about the United States wants to escalate an arms race, so they're using that as pretext. And in the past, as an American, you'd probably be like, I don't believe China. I believe the United States. But right now, with all of the lies from the Trump regime, literally about everything, you can't believe this Trump regime.
Sorry to interrupt, but I've got some important news. This is a story that's seriously underreported, and it matters a lot right now, especially with millions of Americans dealing with the brutal winter weather. Donald Trump is always talking about energy, energy, energy. He claims prices are coming down. He claims he's making things cheaper. But surprise, surprise, that's just not true. It's a lie. And he's the reason that costs are going up. According to the Energy Information Administration, household electricity costs are up 13% under Trump already. 13%. That's real money for families just trying to keep the heat on. And it's happening as demand is spiking. More than 1 million people recently lost power during the massive winter storm, and instead of expanding energy options, Trump has threatened or canceled over 300 clean energy projects, taking supply off the grid when we need it most. Now, rate hikes are rolling out across the country. In Arkansas, electric bills are jumping 23%, about $24 more a month. In Colorado Springs, gas bills are expected to rise another $7 to $10. New Yorkers are seeing higher gas and electricity rates. California, Illinois, North Carolina, Texas, the list goes on and on. This isn't some abstract policy debate. These are higher bills right now in the middle of winter. Trump can call climate change a hoax all he wants, but the effects of his attacks on clean energy are very much real, and people are feeling it. Trump's reckless energy policies are making it more expensive to survive, and Americans are paying the price. So if you don't mind, I want to do a little bit of research right here, right now. Let me know in the comments if your energy bills have gone up, and if so, how much? If they've increased, have you cut back on heating this winter? What are your thoughts on Trump's attacks on clean energy in general? I want to hear it all. Let me know in the comments. You know that these stories are a priority for us here at MeidasTouch, so I'll be back here soon with more updates. Ben, back to you.
Here's what the Trump regime posted on social media. China has conducted nuclear explosive tests, including preparing for tests with designated yields in the hundreds of tons. China has used decoupling, a method to decrease the effectiveness of seismic monitoring, to hide its activities from the world. China conducted one such yield-producing nuclear test on June 22nd, 2020. Let's pause there. Who was in office then? Oh, wait, Donald. Goes on to say the confluence of factors, serial Russian violations, growth of worldwide stockpiles, and flaws in new START's design and implementation gives the United States a clear imperative to call for a new architecture that addresses the threats of today, not those of a bygone era. As throughout our history, the United States has maintained a willingness to seek strategic stability and arms control arrangements that are verifiable, enforceable, and contribute to the security of the United States and her allies. What we are proposing is not talks for the sake of talks with this effort. The United States is looking for meaningful progress based on concrete actions. Now, if that sounded like a bunch of word salad and gibberish, it mostly is word salad and gibberish, but what they're essentially saying is, we believe that China launched a test in 2020. Okay, while Trump was in office in his first administration. We didn't say anything about it, but we knew they did a test when Trump was in office the first time. So now in 2026, because we've learned about that, the United States wants to do the same. And whereas in the past, the United States did not do nuclear testing, and the United States would try to lead the world in saying denuclearization, now we're going to ramp things up because we believe that China has been violating the prior START treaties, which China denies. So that's basically what that message is, and saying, let's do a nuclear weapons arms race again. And then, so I know with all the horrible things that Donald Trump's posting, it's hard to pay attention to everything, right? You know, he's posting photos of former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama with their faces photoshopped on apes, and then blaming it on a staffer after saying that it was done intentionally, then saying it was done intentionally after blaming it on the staffer. And then you have Donald Trump doing all that stuff. But, you know, he's posting about nuclear war on social media, which if former President Obama or Biden or Bush or Clinton did that, everyone would be like, oh my God. But with Donald Trump, our media is like, whatevs. Did he apologize for doing the photo of Obama? Actually, he didn't apologize. He said he's not sorry. I did a video on it this morning as well, where he goes, what would I apologize for? But here's what Trump posted. The United States is the most powerful country in the world. Okay, why you need to say that over and over again? I completely rebuilt its military in my first term. You completely rebuilt the military? What are you talking? It's the stupidest thing. You didn't rebuild anything, including new and many refurbished nuclear weapons. Oh, we all remember that, don't we? That's another lie. I also added Space Force and now continue to rebuild our military at levels never seen before. We are even adding battleships, which are 100 times more powerful than the ones that roamed the seas during World War II. Well, yeah, we're in 2026. I would hope they're more powerful. And we have aircraft carriers. Why are you doing battleships? Like, do you realize why we moved to aircraft carriers and like the way modern warfare has developed with drones? Okay, you're building battleships. Got it. Then I've stopped nuclear wars from breaking out across the world between Pakistan, India, Iran and Israel, and Russia and Ukraine. So not only is he saying he stopped 8 wars, he stopped nuclear wars. He's saying, yes, I forgot about that. But thank you for reminding me that you stopped all these nuclear wars. Then Trump goes, rather than extend New START, a badly negotiated deal by the United States, aside from everything else as being grossly violated, we should have our nuclear experts work on a new, improved, and modernized treaty that can last long into the future. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, I think that gives you new context, right, for what that post means now that you know what's actually going on behind the scenes, that Trump is increasing the nuclear arsenal and he wants to do nuclear testing in America by saying China's engaged in that as well. But, you know, you take a look at what China's also saying here, and China is warning the U.S. that moving ahead with any new arms sales to Taiwan could derail Trump's planned April 2026 visit to Beijing. This warning followed a recent Trump-Xi phone call where Xi Jinping stressed Taiwan as China's top red line and urged extreme caution on arms sales. The U.S. is reportedly considering another major defensive package for Taiwan. Now, one of the issues is that Xi Jinping realizes that Donald Trump is so utterly thirsty for a state visit to see Xi Jinping, and Trump would be so embarrassed if he gets disinvited. Xi Jinping has already met with Prime Minister Keir Starmer of UK and Prime Minister Carney of Canada, and he's met with French President Emmanuel Macron and so many others. But Trump's like, I've got to do this meeting. So Xi Jinping's holding this above Trump's head, this meeting above Trump's head, and saying, you can't help Taiwan, basically. So we'll follow that development right there. And then you have Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who said, I don't want to conduct talks with Russia that lead to results like Russia bombing a children's hospital in Kyiv. Those are my bright red lines, and that's the European Union's bright red lines in Canada. We're happy to talk in good faith, but if at the end of all of these negotiations that are taking place, or these fake negotiations that are taking place, it's just part of Donald Trump's plan to allow Russia to kill Ukrainians and take over Ukraine. Germans like, we're not doing it. We're always prepared to talk to Russia. We're fine to talk, but we will not open parallel negotiation channels. The key to ending this war lies with Moscow. And I think he's putting down a real marker right there. I'm not going to show the whole speech here because this video is running long and I think you get the point. But check out Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's speech that he gave, where he talks about internet security and the pushback against people like Elon Musk and Facebook and other platforms, and limiting the access of children under the age of like 16, 15 from accessing social media, and Spain, like Europe, coming down hard on social media platforms that allow any type of underage sexualization or anything like that. It was it's a long speech, powerful speech, but I thought it was really powerful. But I wanted to highlight those international developments for you. So hit subscribe. We appreciate you. Let's get to 6 million. We're close to 6 million subscribers. Thank you everybody for watching, and have a good one.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.